Everybody, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. I know I hardly come on the weekend, but every now and then I'll pop in and holla at you, my people out there. Okay, so whether you're in the Calibrate family or not, doesn't matter. Everybody is entitled to, good information. Okay, so every now and then, guys, I get on here and I just extol the virtues of, the trades, right? Of having a skill in the trades and why it's so important to do that and why the trades are basically the foundation of everything. Without the trades, you have no, pretty much all economic activity stops. Everything grinds to a halt. It's almost like the truckers. And I always talk about when I was a trucker, because I was a trucker for a pretty long time. And, without the trucking industry, I know truckers, they have a reputation. They're looked at as, some big fat dude in a truck and, eating unhealthy and all that stuff. And yes, that does exist in the trucking world. Don't get me wrong, right? Fortunately, I didn't become one of those people, but man, I was not eating healthy out there on the road. I'll tell you that. But yeah, when like if the trucking industry shuts down completely, the transportation industry, it doesn't just have to be trucking, but just transportation in general. I don't care if it's big rigs hauling freight across state lines. I don't care if it's the box truck industry. I don't care if it's taxi drivers, Ubers. The economy will pretty much shut down. Well, that goes for the trades overall. Okay. And I just figured I'd get on here and just kind of give everybody a friendly reminder of why the trades are so important and why you should respect your local neighborhood tradesmen. Okay. Just imagine, right? Just imagine, like, if all the plumbers just pretty much disappeared, all the mechanics disappeared, carpenters, welders, electricians, just vanished overnight. Guess what'll happen, right? Your lights wouldn't turn on, your water wouldn't flow. Okay, when you got that, if you got that backed up toilet, who's gonna fix that? I just did a job where we had to snake drain a system in a house, and because everything was leaking, and what if you didn't have anybody to do that, right? What if your car wouldn't start and you didn't know what to do? Well, you can go to YouTube and watch my channel, see if that could help you. But most of the time, most people they're gonna need somebody to come out and fix things. Okay, and that's the whole essence of what I'm trying to say here. Everything, right? Everything relies on the basic foundation. When you strip everything away, right? You strip all the fluff away, you're left with just the basics. And that's what the trades are. That's why I promote it so much on this channel, right? Because it's the bedrock of a fully functioning society, right? I don't care how far you go back in history. I'm sure there were cavemen repairing something, whether it was the drainage system and their whatever, what I'm saying? They were fixing things, okay? They were forging tools. That's why when the archaeologists dig up these sites and they find all these tools, that's because people needed tools. And that's, I don't care how far back you go. They knew how to manipulate their environment even back then. And that's pretty much, all the way up to today, right? I don't care how technologically advanced the tools are we have today. The fact remains that tools are necessary, and people with skills to use those tools are even more necessary, right? So yeah, that's not a science fiction analogy there, where everything just everybody, all tradesmen just disappears, right? It's a real thing, and I just want you to imagine what will happen if that did happen. Okay, your whole economic foundation would crumble. Okay, so the skill trades just pretty much provide our economy with everything that it needs. And so, like I said, I like to get on here and pretty much extol the virtues of it, because that's the basis of my channel. Okay, so let's dive into it. Okay, let's see here. There's something called the multiplier effect. Okay, and that goes with anything, right? Like if you get up in the morning and you fix breakfast for your family, and that family eats the breakfast, they feel nourished, and they go out into the world and they feel they have the energy they need to, go out there and produce in the world and make things happen for themselves. That's an example of the multiplier effect. Well, when it comes to the trades, right? Or let's pick a tradesman. Let's pick an electrician. Okay, when an electrician goes out there and they install, say, a power system in a building, guess what that's going to do, right? That's going to provide a place in that building for maybe 150 workers or 200 workers to come in and be productive in that building, right? And make money for their families. Okay, that's going to give a chance for other companies to come and sell their wares to that the people who work in that building, right? You got the cleaning services, janitorial services. You got people that are going to be security guards for that building. The maintenance people for that building, okay? What about around the building? You're going to have restaurants. The people that work in the building, they're going to want to eat, right? So that's what I mean by the multiplier effect. Just by that electrician coming in there and installing that system, okay, running the wires, whatever, lights and power and all that good stuff, that creates a mini economy in that area where everybody's benefiting from, right? He's providing value just by that one service. And this is just, and he doesn't even know it, right? Well, I'm sure you do know it, right? But my point is that that's how important the trades are. If he didn't come and do that, he or she, because they got some pretty good female electricians as well. If he didn't come and do that, then none of that stuff would have happened for that building, right? And that's the power of the skilled trades. So you go out there and you pretty much create an ecosystem just by building something that you create an ecosystem for the whole area, right? It brings people from far and wide to come and work and make money, eat, enjoy social activities. You know, you guys get what I'm talking about, okay? So let's dive into it a little bit more. It says, okay, economic studies show that every dollar spent on a skilled trade service generates about $1.50 to $2 in additional economic activity. Okay, the multiplier effect is higher than most service industries because trades create the infrastructure that enables other economic activities to exist. Yeah, so it's kind of like a domino effect, right? It's a domino effect, and that's the great thing about it, right? Like you see somebody out there slaving outside in the hot sun, construction workers just putting in work. Like I live in a city where, okay, I'm in Inglewood, California right now, Inglewood, Los Angeles. And they pretty much built up this area, right? You have the Intuit Dome, you have the SoFi Stadium, you have the Forum, which was there when I first moved out here. And you can't imagine the amount of traffic that these buildings bring, because you got the sports events, you got the concerts, you got the hotels. You know, I mean, not to mention the value of the properties went up, skyrocketed in this city, all because of that, investment in the infrastructure of this city. So people from far and wide, I'm talking about from all over the country, come to watch a game, right, or go to a concert, and the city's benefiting from all that economic activity. And I remember when the stuff was being built, I saw the welders up there just building the steel framing for the stadiums and the whatever you want to call those, the concert halls and all that. And construction workers going to work. They had to build parking lots too, right? The multi-level parking lots, they had to build that for the people who were going to be coming. So what I'm saying is the skilled trades, right? The skilled trades did all that. Now the city is benefiting from that. If you talk about monetarily, I mean, it's just, you can imagine how much money's just been flowing in here. That's the multiplier effect, right? And then you get, people going to come and set up businesses to benefit from all that economic activity coming into the city, all those people flowing in, all because things were built. Okay. So, okay, it says, our modern economy operates on what economists call infrastructure dependency. That means every economic transaction relies on physical systems that tradespeople build and maintain. Now here's the kicker here. We're moving into a digital economy. Everything's, I mean, compared to where it was maybe 100 years ago, this is like George Jetson, right? This is like the Jetsons right now. You have cars driving around with no driver in them. I'm in a city where they have those what they call Waymo vehicles. Is that driverless cars? Yeah, it's a real thing. It's so common now. People see it as just a normal thing right now. Okay, that's part of the digital economy. That's part of the automated economy that is it's slowly encroaching upon our existence. Okay, and but guess what? You needed people to build those cars, right? They didn't just appear. You needed skilled people to manufacture and build those things, and not only build them, maintain them. Okay, it says digital economy foundation. What about it? Even our virtual digital economy depends entirely on physical infrastructure. Data centers need electricians, HVAC technicians, and facility maintenance specialists. The internet cables connecting our world are installed and maintained by telecommunications technicians. Without the trades, there is no digital economy. And that's kind of the one thing I want to drive through on this live. All these digital luxuries, I should say, cell phone, right? AI, all this stuff. None of that stuff would work without infrastructure in place for them to exist on, right? Even, you hear all this talk about crypto and stuff like that. Bitcoin and all these other coins, they couldn't exist without the blockchain, right? So the blockchain is like the digital infrastructure upon which all these different digital assets sit upon. You take that away, you have nothing. You don't have any of that, right? So but guess what? The blockchain wouldn't exist either without the physical infrastructure to maintain them. You need the whatever. I'm not too familiar with all of that, but I know they have mines, digital mining, or crypto mining and stuff like that. These are actual physical devices. The computer systems, the data centers that store all the information, the internet, pretty much, right? These are physical systems that need to be maintained. They need to be installed. My brother he's in the IT world. He's a network engineer, among many other things that he does, and he builds these data centers. Okay, and so you need the physical infrastructure, right? So that's why all this stuff that's happening now with AI, the talk of AI displacing a lot of people as far as jobs and stuff like that. That stuff is true, right? To an extent, right? Like anything that's non-labor intensive is probably going to be taken over by AI. You know what I mean? But what AI cannot do, at least not yet, is all the physical and the physical labor that is required in the trades. Okay, and a lot of people think the trades are not is a low tech type of industry. It's not. This trades is very high tech now. Matter of fact, being in the trades puts you in front of the most cutting edge technology. I remember I went to a welding expo, and I got to see all the new technology coming out in the welding world. It was pretty amazing. They have robots that weld, so that's kind of automated to some extent. But a AI or a robot is not going to be able to get in spaces that a person can get into. So really, what the trades are presenting to people is that, hey, look, we can give you a skill where it won't be taken over by AI. It's recession proof, right? The most AI can do for you in the trades is pretty much assist you, not necessarily, supplant you. In other words, replace you, right? So that's the great thing about it. You get a skill in the trades, and you don't necessarily have to worry about it. And once again, guys, I'm not knocking any other type of career. I'm just telling you that when it comes to the basics, right? It's always a safer bet, in my opinion, right? It's always a safer bet when you have a skill trade. I suggest to people all the time, yeah, go be a lawyer, go, be an accountant, go be a coder and all that stuff is necessary. Yes. We need those skills as well, right? Swinging a hammer is not all that's, cracked up to be. I'm not trying to say the trades is better. I'm just trying to say that it's needed, right? It's necessary. Okay. And when all those other things that are replaced by, AI, I mean, give me a break. They have, lawyers using AI for to draft their legal papers. So what's going to happen to the paralegals, right? Uh, I know an accountant, and she told me that the trades won't necessarily replace accountants, but some aspects of accountants not the trades, but AI won't necessarily replace accountants, but it can replace certain aspects of the accounting profession, like maybe bookkeeping, where it's pretty much data entry, right? That doesn't require too much creativity and skill. But when it comes to the higher levels of accounting, like strategy, right, where you have to strategize maybe how someone can avoid, I wouldn't say avoid paying taxes, but at least, circumvent certain areas of the tax code in a legal way, not an illegal way, but in a legal way. That's all tax strategy, right? Maybe AI can't figure that out. But I don't know, if it knows the system and it knows all the codes, I mean, it possibly can. I mean, if ChatGPT can formulate something for you just by typing in a few prompts, then I don't know. But at the end of the day, all it can be for you is a partner. Okay, a partner. And so, yeah, but like I said, anything on, like, when it comes to white collar, quote unquote, white collar work, they are more at risk for being replaced, not the trades. Okay. So the digital economy, once again, will not, it only exists because of the physical infrastructure, right? Which has to be built, it has to be maintained. So what else? Manufacturing supply chains. Every manufactured product requires skilled trades at multiple points, from the factory, equipment installation and maintenance, to the transportation infrastructure, to the retail spaces where products are sold. Yeah. So it all comes down to infrastructure, guys, even down to our own financial systems, right? Talk about, I'm gonna be a day trader. I'm gonna make all this money day trading, or I'm going to be a stockbroker. I'm going to work on Wall Street, all that stuff, right? People aspire to work for Goldman Sachs and these big banks and stock exchanges and things like that, and make all this money, which does happen. But guess what? All those things are housed in buildings that require maintenance, okay? Maintenance by skilled tradespeople, all right? And so, once again, none of these things exist without the physical infrastructure, which it's the foundation of everything, okay? Which means the tradesman is the foundation of everything, okay? That guy you see walking down the street with the construction hat on, the hard hat on, and the vest, and in the middle of the street using the jackhammer, digging up the roads. And that guy building that house over there, with his team, or fixing that roof, or that HVAC technician crawling through the ducts to fix something. It's these people. It's these people that keep our economy going. That trucker, right, hauling freight, from one end of the country to the next. It's these people that keep everything going, guys. I want you to remember that, okay? So if anybody's a real patriot, or if anybody is, understands, how important these things are, they are the foundation of everything, then maybe you might have another perspective on the world. Okay. All right. Here's another topic: economic resilience through the trades. Economists have identified the skilled trades as recession resistant. Okay, that means anytime you have a recession, right, where everything goes down, right, and nobody's spending money because prices are too high or whatever's going on, you still need people to maintain the infrastructure. Okay, you still need people to repair the roads. You still need that plumber to come in and fix your toilet. Okay, you still need that, that house to be well, it depends on if you have a recession in the housing market. You may not have a lot of house building going on, but you still need to maintain that. You still need to maintain your property, your house, and your assets. Okay, so not to mention, like, if you're into, I used to install solar. A few, I'd say many years back. I was a solar installer. Okay, so what happens in a recession? People want to save money, right? So you want to think about energy efficient ways to implement into maybe your house, and that's what solar was, right? It's like the green economy, where you want to utilize nature or the sun, for example, to save money, right? Create technologies that will save money. So even though you may have a housing slowdown, a slowdown in the housing market, you may want to put some of that money into energy efficient improvements, so you can save money. So what does that mean? You need to go out there and learn the skill, or find a skill to help you do that, and solar is one of those. Okay, so, and that's a trade right there. Okay, especially out here in the West Coast in Southern California. And government contracts, right? There's a lot of government contracts when it comes to trades, and matter of fact, they push that. So, yeah, that's what it means by recession proof. Okay, the trade's always going to be recession proof. Okay, all right. Let me see here. The real Jay Crispy. Hey, Jay Crispy. Hey, could you help me with the problem I'm having with my car? What's going on with the car, Jay Crispy? Let us know what's happening. Let us know what's happening, Jay Crispy. All right, what else? Where were we, guys? All right. Wow, look at this, guys. 25% of skilled tradespeople are over 55 and approaching retirement. For every 5 tradespeople retiring, only 1 worker is entering the field. Okay, what does that mean? That means you're pouring out more water than you're putting back in. Okay, so that's going to create a gap. One thing it's going to do is going to raise the wages for the skilled tradespeople, because it's just a supply and demand thing. All right, there's less supply and there's more demand for skilled trades workers. So, you can leverage that right now for some good money. Okay, because that's just how it works. Infrastructure needs are growing by 3 to 4% annually. Okay, so that not just building infrastructure, but just the need to maintain them. Okay, so that's really that's because once you build something, right, you build that thing one time, but guess what? You got to maintain it for a lifetime, or however long that is. So it's the maintenance part of being a tradesman that's really where the money's at. Okay, that's the long-term money right there. It takes 4 to 5 years to fully train a skilled tradesperson. That's why I'm proud of when I talk to somebody and say, yeah, I got into it when maybe a while, when I was younger, and I stuck with it, because those guys are never broke. I'm telling you right now. Okay, they're never broke, and they always have work, and they're doing well for themselves. All right. The skills gap isn't just affecting the trades, it's affecting the entire economy. Okay, it says labor shortages have increased construction costs by 15 to 20% in many markets, making housing less affordable and commercial development less profitable. That's the multiplier effect working in a negative way. Okay, because of the shortage, because skilled tradespeople are not coming into the industry like they were. Like I said, more of them are leaving than coming in. That's making everything more expensive, right? Because now contractors and everybody, they have to charge you more just to do that project, and that's just how it is. Now, you also have other factors that I haven't even mentioned that are causing prices to go up. You got tariffs now. You know, you got all these things going on. So it's just one after the other, making it more expensive out here to even be in the industry. Okay. Manufacturing delays, equipment breakdowns that once took days to repair now take weeks. Yeah, because you don't have enough people to fix them. You may have had 5 mechanics at one time in your shop. Now you may have just 2, right? So things are going to take longer. And so productivity has a price on it, right? And that's when you're talking about on a large scale, that's millions of dollars in productivity that are lost all because of this, right? Shortage and this gap, right? This vacuum that's being created by aging tradespeople and all of that. Infrastructure decay, deferred maintenance due to labor shortages is accelerating the deterioration of roads, bridges, and public utilities, creating massive future economic liabilities. Yeah, I drive around my city, and man, seems like there's more potholes than ever. But you see these guys working on the streets late at night. It's like, okay, why are you not working on my street? Why are you not working on this stretch of highway or here? I mean, it's like, it's like, I don't understand. It's like your car is pretty much all messed up after a while because these roads aren't being fixed. And once again, that's the multiplier effect working in a negative way, because you don't have enough people out there to take these jobs on. So you see how everything's intertwined, right? How it's going to cost you, the consumer, right, who's not even thinking about the stuff I'm talking about, how it's costing you money, but because there's not enough people, there's not enough skilled tradespeople out there to take care of business, right, to be deployed to out there in your city to take care of the roads and all of that. Okay. And the equipment that they're using to take care of it, they're breaking down as well, like I just mentioned. So you need tradespeople, you need mechanics to fix those, right? So if you don't have enough people to do this stuff, it's the multiplier effect of on a negative downward spiral. That's why I always push the trades on this channel. All right. Innovation bottlenecks. New technologies can't be implemented without skilled workers to install and maintain them. The green energy transition, for example, is being limited by the shortage of electricians and HVAC technicians trained in new systems. So even though these ideals of a green economy, I talked about solar and all that stuff, AI, being implemented throughout the system. Yeah, AI, I don't think it's that much as well. It is affected because you need people to build these data centers, right? So even the spread of new technologies, whether it's for profit or whether it's for the environment, doesn't matter if you don't have the right amount of skilled tradesmen out there implementing them in the world. It's going to take longer, right? All right, let me go back to okay, it's not there. All right, so I hope you guys getting the picture here. Kind of like a little class on economics, I guess. The skills gap is creating dramatic changes in trade wages, demonstrating real-time market economics in action. Okay. Then it talks about the growth rates of the different trades. Skilled electricians, 8 to 12% annual wage growth. Experienced plumbers, 10 to 15% annual wage growth. Then you got welders, 12 to 18% annual wage growth. Okay. And if you specialize in certain things, I told you I was a solar panel installer. Let's see here, $25 to $35 an hour. That sounds about right on the high end. And if you're running your own company, of course, that's going to be way more than that. Industry automation technicians, $30 to $40 an hour. And green building specialists, $20 to $30 an hour over traditional construction. Let's see here. The entrepreneurship multiplier. This is when you're not just a tradesman, but you actually own your own business. And that's another point I want to mention. When it comes to the trades, not only are you avoiding the massive debt that you will incur if you went to college to be whatever, you don't incur that amount, that massive debt when it comes to trades. You learn the skill, okay? The trade school may cost you maybe, I don't know, depends on what you do, but let's just say on the higher end, maybe 30 grand, around that, 30, 40 grand at most, depending on what skill, right? What school you go to. And then you can come out there right out of school and start a business right there and there, okay? There's a low barrier, okay? There's not a high barrier to business ownership, okay? So that's the great thing about it. You can scale it to how big you want it to be, okay? So let's see here. Unlike most industries requiring significant capital, many trades can transition to business ownership with minimal investment, a truck, tools, and a reputation. I would say a reputation is probably it's probably the most important one, because you can get a truck, and if you lose it, you can replace that truck. You can lose tools and you can replace the tools, but if you lose your reputation, hard to replace that. Okay. Scalable business models. Successful trade businesses often grow into general contracting, facilities management, or specialized consulting, creating jobs for others. So you got to find your own niche. You may not want to be a contractor, right? You just may want to be a one-man show and maybe be a handyman and make a decent income on that. Okay. There's a brother on YouTube. I was on his channel. I want to give him a shout out to him. His channel is called Appliance Repair Boot Camp. He's a pretty industrious guy. Yeah, his whole thing was appliance repair. He promoted that, and I don't think he had a team or anything. It was just him, but he was pulling in some pretty good money. And a lot of people don't think about appliance repair, but yeah, look him up, Appliance Repair Boot Camp. Check him out on YouTube. I got to bring him on the channel. He brought me on. I haven't forgot you, brother. I remember. All right. Let's see. Scalable business models. Just mentioned that. Yeah, just find your niche. You know what I mean? So many different areas you can go into when it comes to the trades. Okay. So many different areas. And when I talk about the trades, I don't necessarily mean you got to be construction worker. You can be an IT engineer, right? You can be into IT, right? Where you're, dealing with data centers and stuff like that. Like I said, my brother, right? So that's his trade. Local economic impact. Trade businesses are inherently local, keeping economic benefits in their communities rather than flowing to distant corporate headquarters. Yeah, the local tradesperson is pretty much spending money in their own community. And I think that's, once again, I'm gonna talk about or mention the African American community, where a lot of I would say a lot of barriers have been presented to them, even in the trades back then. But today, I wouldn't say that it's like that as much, obviously, right? So if you're finding a hard time navigating the corporate environment, think about a trade. Think about a trade. You know what I mean? If you're dealing with all the politics and social politics, racial politics, hey, there's a lot of people in your community, right? Whoever you are in your community that needs things done. Everybody has a house. Everybody has a car. Everybody needs something done. All you got to do is be industrious enough, okay, to go out there and market yourself. People need, how many guys, there's a lot of women that need things done around the house. You can be that guy. You can be that person. If you present yourself in a professional manner, just even mentioning that how to do a little something, you can fix things, man, that makes women's ears perk up. Oh, I need this done around the house. I need this. You're in business right there. You're in business right there. All right, technological integration and economic evolution. All right, listen. One of the biggest misconceptions about skilled trades is that they're low tech. I mentioned this before. The reality is the exact opposite. Modern trades are at the forefront of technological adoption, creating new economic opportunities and higher value services. Yes, I would say that the trades is one of the frontiers of technological innovation, right? I mean, I remember it was the assembly line back in the day, right, where you had people, you know, this whole assembly line. I think Henry Ford started that. According to history, Henry Ford was the innovator of the assembly line. I may be wrong. Don't quote me on that. And then from there, you have robots taking, replacing people. Not all the way, but you have robots doing things now. So that was a form of innovation back then. And now you have well, you still got robots, okay. You even have robots in the trucking industry at these various port of calls, right? I've seen robots delivering large 40-foot containers. These gigantic robots with wheels on them, rolling around, picking up containers off of big rigs, chassis, and putting them in a pile and taking them from the pile and putting them on the yeah. So you have that now, okay. Even in the trades, guys, you got some. I didn't see that anywhere else but trucking. So yeah, you have, and then I hear a lot about, you think the United States is so far behind when it comes to technological advancement. You look at some of the things that are going on in China, that's going on in China right now, right? And you're just kind of blown away, right? How they have pretty much transformed their society from an agrarian society, an agricultural society, into what it is now, far surpassing pretty much everywhere else on the planet. I don't see anywhere else that has all the technological advances they do. They're living in the George Jetson era where they're having robotic waitresses and food delivered through a tube, and I mean they're living that already. But all that had to be built by tradespeople. Okay, all that had to be built by tradespeople. Smart building systems. Electricians now install and maintain building automation systems worth millions of dollars. Yeah, so these automation systems require highly skilled electricians to build them and install them. These systems, they require these electricians to understand networking, programming, and everything else. Okay, that maybe an electrician back in the 50s didn't need to know. So being a tradesperson is like actually going to college again for a tech degree, right? They got to know this stuff. Programming, come on, that's computer languages. They got to know how to do all this. All right. So people need to get out of their head that the trades are just some, low tech, low skilled, low IQ industry. I beg to differ. It's I mean, you can learn so much. You can learn so much because the great thing about the trades is that it coalesces and amalgamates a variety of skills in the tech field. Okay. The manufacturing field, all that stuff, it's in the trades itself. All right, let's see here. Great thing about that, when you learn all that stuff, you can command you command a greater wage. You can command a higher wages. And yeah, so precision manufacturing. Modern welders work with computer controlled equipment. Absolutely. Like I said, I was a welding instructor, and I saw the technological advancements in the welding world. You'd be surprised. I mean, yes, most people know that. Well, if you don't know, they have robots that weld. But this requires anytime you have robots, you're talking about computers, you're talking about programming, you're talking about coding. Okay. So all of these skills that someone with a computer science degree has, they're required in welders need to know some of this stuff, right? Welders. Okay. These specialized skills can command $40 to $60 per hour or more. green technology integration. HVAC technicians installing geothermal systems, heat pumps, and smart climate control are essentially becoming renewable energy specialists. What I'm saying, guys, is that everything evolves, okay? Even the trades, right? When you get into the trades these days, because of all the technological advancements that are happening in the world, you need to become a tech person as well. Let's talk about social media, for example, right? It's not just social media when you really look at it. It's, you know, when you get on here, you actually just created a media company. If you're thinking business, right? When you're talking about being on all these different platforms and this and that, you're in essence a media company now. And whatever you talk about may be parallel to that, if not secondary, right? But in essence, you are a media company. You are using your laptop with a camera to reach millions of people, or however many people you reach. That is what a media company does. So now you have to learn the ins and outs of that, right? You're not just someone talking about, you know, cats or whatever. You can come on here and just do whatever, but if you're really thinking smart, you're thinking about, okay, how can I reach as many people as I want to, or as I can? So, you know, you think you're becoming one thing, but you're actually becoming something else. You're becoming multiple things to be a holistic person, right? Or a holistic person that adds value to the marketplace. So, like I said right there, you know, HVAC techs are having to become renewable energy specialists. And of course, you know, the pay, the wages are, you know, once again, multiplied as well, right? Because for every skill that you know, now you have to get paid accordingly. And that's one of the good things about it. All right, let's see here. Data-driven trades economy. Modern trade businesses operate on data and technology. Predictive maintenance, what is that? It says using sensors and data analysis to predict equipment failures before they happen, creating ongoing service relationships and reducing emergency costs. Wow. Yeah. Efficiency optimization, trade professionals who can analyze and improve building systems efficiency are creating enormous economic value for their clients while commanding premium pricing. You know how those skills right there, predictive maintenance, and all, you know, you can predict when something's going to go wrong and do what you can to avoid that stuff. Do you know how valuable a skill that is? All right. Efficiency optimization, improving the efficiency of a system. I mean, these are where you get paid the big bucks right here. Okay. Digital integration, tradespeople who understand how to integrate traditional systems with things called IoT, something, okay, smart home technology, building management systems are creating entirely new service categories. All these different systems are being created, right? These new systems, these new categories are being created. You know, because of the evolution of technology, right, and the trades, right? So the trades itself is evolving as as a term. The trades, it's evolving, right? The economic value of problem solving. Skilled trades represent what economists call high value problem solving. Unlike routine work that can be automated or outsourced, skilled trades involve, number one, diagnosing complex and unique problems, adapting solutions to specific contexts, making decisions under uncertainty, combining technical knowledge with physical skills. That last one is, I think, the most rewarding part, right? Because you have the knowledge up here, but you need the physical skills to implement that knowledge. But yeah, when it comes to problem solving, the trades, I think, is one of the most areas that's rife with that opportunity to figure things, to stretch your brain and figure stuff out. If you want to get into problem solving, get into some kind of trade, as opposed to just some job where you I don't know, going out there and just, I don't know, counting something or whatever, just what they call rote skills, like being a bookkeeper where you're just adding, I think we thrive most as human beings when we stretch our brains, when we stretch our mental capacities, figuring something out. It's almost like going to the gym, right? If you want to get in shape, if you want a good looking body, you got to put it under stress. You got to give it resistance, right? The body has to figure out how to adapt to this weight that you're putting on it, right? So it's figuring that stuff out. Of course, it's doing it automatically because that's what the body does. It eventually figures stuff out. But the mind does the same thing. If you don't give the mind a problem to solve, and it's probably even on a spiritual level, I don't want to digress. But if you don't give your inner person something to solve, if you don't have challenges to overcome, you kind of get lazy, and I think you stagnate. I think you stagnate as a human being when you don't have problems to solve. It doesn't mean you should be a drama queen and you're always looking for problems. That's a toxic way of looking at it. But I think you do need to give it something to work with, to exercise, so you can stay nimble, so you can stay alert. And the trades is one of those areas where you can make money doing that, figuring out problems to solve, right? And there's a reward to that, and you know it because you feel it. Economic security and career advantages. All right, personal economic benefits. Learning a trade provides several economic advantages that traditional career paths often lack. Immediate earning potential is one of them. I mentioned this before. Unlike careers that require a 4-year degree, okay, before you start earning money, you can start earning money with the trades right after maybe a 6-month or 3 months apprenticeship, or maybe that's kind of short depending on the trade that you're getting into. But a lot of these apprenticeships you can learn while you earn. You can earn while you learn, I should say. So you're making money right away. And then the longer you stay in it, the more skills you get and the more time you put in, especially if you're in one of these unions and stuff like that. You're gonna, the more time you're in, you're gonna not just earn money, but you get benefits and all this other stuff, which is almost like earning money. Right? All right. A second-year electrical apprentice often earns more than a college graduate's starting salary. Did you guys just hear what I just said? A second-year electrical apprentice often earns more than a college graduate's starting salary. Yeah. Then you got a lot of college graduates just graduating, and that's it. They don't even have a starting salary because they don't have prospects. They don't have jobs. So it's more riskier, in my opinion, to be a college graduate today than just to be a construction worker, right? I'm not saying just to be a construction worker. I'm not just saying but you guys understand what I'm saying, right? In this economy, you can't depend on just a college degree unless you have something lined up already. You have some connection, you have some family connection to give you a job fresh out of school. And a lot of times you're probably not even working in the area of study that you have under your belt. You just need money because you got all this debt. So even if you're going to go to school, I really suggest that you be real strategic about it. And, if it takes longer for you to graduate without debt, then do that, right? Nobody's forcing you to, because you're going to be paying that debt off for the rest of your life in some cases. And, what was the point then, right? Debt-free education. Trade programs typically cost $5,000 to $15,000 total compared to $100,000 for many college degrees. Graduates start careers without crushing debt loads. Talking about graduates of trade programs. They don't have the crushing debt loads. I just talked about that. Geographic flexibility. Skilled trades are needed everywhere. Economic downturns in one region don't eliminate opportunities. They just shift them. So, this mobility provides economic security and negotiating power. I can attest to that. When I was in the trucking world, when I was in the solar world, you don't, that one company, you may just work with them for, I don't know, 6 months, right? But you got a skill that you could take somewhere else. Not only that, you got a skill where you can start, so you can start your own outfit. Having a CDL, commercial driver's license. And by the way, you guys that are just coming out of, lock up, lockdown, whatever, but you're in the system, check out getting your CDL. Even if you never use it, have it. Okay, because unfortunately, there's a stigma for people just coming out of the penitentiary, the penal system, and but there are the trades. Once again, they offer opportunities that other industries don't, because of your background, right? Getting into trucking is one of those things. It's one of those industries that are not. It's not as judgmental when it comes to that. And you can. One thing about that I would say is that it especially for you guys coming out of those systems, because of what happened in your life and the decisions you made and where you ended up, you got to kind of look at that as look at the bright side. Okay, everything has a bright side. If the world rejects you as far as getting a job in certain areas, don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as, okay, I'm going to start my own thing. It's going to force you to do that, right? And so there's been a lot of successful entrepreneurs who went through the penal system, and because they couldn't get hired, they were forced to start their own thing because they had to eat, they had to feed their families, and they ended up becoming way more successful than someone who never went in the penal system. And I'm not advocating going into the penal system at all in any way possible, in any way at all. I'm just saying that, look at it as a good look at your situation as say, okay, this is going to force me to really step up, and you can do that. And the trades offer you that opportunity. Wow, isn't that something, right? Right? The white collar world doesn't offer you that opportunity in a lot of ways, but the trades does. Go figure on that one. All right, where were we here? Where were we here, guys? Talked about problem solving, debt-free education, geographic flexibility, recession resistance. We talked about that as well. Many careers disappeared during economic downturns. Yeah. How many people were laid off during the last recession? How many people were told to stay home? Well, the tradespeople weren't necessarily told to stay home because they needed those essential workers. Remember, they call them essential workers, right? You weren't calling them essential before, but when stuff hit the fan, now they're essential. It's always when stuff hits the fan that you remember who's the most valuable, right? You remember who's the most valuable. But even then, essential workers weren't necessarily being treated fairly. Remember how the nurses were being treated, right? So, all right. So during those times, the companies focus on maintenance and replacement, and governments tend to invest in infrastructure during those times as well, during recessions. Okay, and guess who they need to do that? They need tradespeople. Building wealth through trades. Let's talk about it. Skilled trades offer multiple wealth building pathways. Okay. Good wages and a lower educational debt, it's automatically going to translate into more money. Tradespeople have a higher savings rate than their degree holding peers. Did you know that? I wonder why that is. Maybe I'll do a live on that right there. But that's a very interesting fact. Why do tradespeople save better or have a higher savings rate than their degree holding peers? Very interesting. Many tradespeople leverage their skills to invest in and improve real estate, creating additional income streams and long-term wealth. Yes, I mean, if you're a construction worker, I mean, why not? You can build a house. You know how to maintain a house. You know, you can be a property manager. You can start your own property management company. Those people, I mean, they make good money. Okay. All right, the future economic landscape. I'm almost done here, guys. Almost done here. The intersection of trades and emerging technologies is creating unprecedented economic opportunities. We talked about the green economy, the shift to renewable energy, electric vehicles. I talked about that. Not just electric vehicles, but driverless cars. I mean, that's you know, come on now. That's I don't know if it's in your state, but it's definitely in my city. That's telling you right there. Okay. All the opportunities that's being created by the advancement of technology here. Literally being created, right? Anytime technology advances, a new trade skill is created, right? And they go hand in hand. Energy efficient buildings will require millions of skilled tradespeople all over the next decade. Infrastructure modernization, aging infrastructure needs massive investment. No kidding. Creating sustained demand for skilled trades. The return of manufacturing to North America requires skilled tradespeople who can work with advanced equipment and maintain complex systems. That's another thing. The return of manufacturing to North America. How's that been? I did a couple lives on why I think that's a good thing. But how's that going? I'll save that for another live. Smart cities development. As cities become more technologically integrated, they need tradespeople who understand both traditional systems and cutting edge technology. Guys, I've repeated that already a million times throughout this live. Tradespeople are not going anywhere. Okay, they'll be the last to go, in my opinion. Okay. And if they got to go, that means the Matrix is upon us. If you ever watch the Matrix, if tradespeople are gone or done away with, that means the Matrix is here. Nothing but robots. They're going to be harvesting us for our energy, right? They're going to have us harvest in farms, human farms. Well, they kind of have that now with the prison system, right? That's kind of like harvesting the energy of people, right? But with AI and all this other stuff, it might be like the Matrix. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you just might have a Matrix going on. Then you're going to need like a Neo and a Morpheus and all that. So stay awake. Stay awake. Okay. All right. So let's sum it up, guys. Immediate earning potential without all the crushing debt that you would incur if you went to got a 4-year degree. Recession proof. Okay. Entrepreneurial opportunities, business opportunities right off the bat. You're creating value right off the bat in the economy, in the marketplace. And you get a front row seat to all the technological innovation that's happening in the world. You have a front row seat as a tradesperson, right? That's all the benefits of being in the world of the world of the skilled trades. Okay. Anyway, you pick your path, whatever it is. I wish you the best luck. Just giving you another perspective and how everything's tied in, and that you can't do anything without the trades. Okay. And so think about it. Think about getting the skill. Think about telling your kids about it, especially in my community. I want you guys to understand there's so much opportunity. I just get on here and talk about it. But, you have a lot more fun going out there and actually getting into it. All right. So anyway, guys, appreciate you. Appreciate you listening, and hope to see you guys on the next live. Take care.